Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be breaking down one of my most recent deals. I just wholesaled the vacant land. I got paid $4,400 to do it. Let's talk about how I did it. We are going to go back to the fact that I talk about texting and all that stuff all the time. The way I got a hold of this guy, I ran a campaign in Mulberry, Florida, and I texted him. But let's take a step back and see why I actually was running a campaign in that city. About a week before I actually started running a campaign in that city, I met a cash buyer, a builder, one of the cities that I wholesale in. I had a property that I was trying to assign, but it didn't work out. It had a flood zone and whatnot, so I couldn't do anything with it. But I met this guy that said, hey, I'm gonna look for properties that I can put mobile homes on. So first thing that I think about is that this guy is very serious that he wants to buy a property very soon. In my head, I see money. Well, it's not easy money because you actually have to find the property, but either way, you have to work. And this guy is ready to buy. So what I actually did is that I started a campaign just for this dude. He told me what areas he's looking at, and I just ran a campaign in those areas. And I found this guy. I was texting him back and forth. We agreed on the price. We agreed on $5,500. And it was not a big piece of land in Mulberry, Florida. And it's a decent neighborhood. The biggest positive thing about this land was that it was allowed for a mobile home. And the way I know this, every county, every city is a little different. But the way it was in this city is that if about 70 or 80% of the place you're looking at has mobile homes, then you could build a mobile home on that property. And I literally just looked on Google and I found there was only mobile homes around, so I was like, yeah, this is a perfect property for a mobile home. So I tried to talk with the seller, but I'm texting back and forth. He's not very responsive. You kind of will see that a lot, that the sellers may not be responsive because they got a lot of stuff going on, and maybe $5,000-$10,000 property may not be the top priority. So one day we scheduled a phone call. I had a phone call with this guy for 3 minutes. We talked about everything, we discussed, we agreed on the price, we agreed on the terms and everything. I signed the contract with the seller, and I literally just the same moment sent it to the buyer. I explained to him the situation and I tried to push it for 11. You know, he says 10. I think I could have pushed it for 11, to be honest with you. Even if it wasn't with this buyer, I think it's a good land enough to be for $11,000-$12,000. But because I was trying to build a relationship with this buyer, I was like, $10,000, that's fine. Because this buyer was actually looking for more land. So I knew if I keep a relationship with this guy and I don't give him too expensive of prices, he will actually buy more properties from me. And he actually did, and right now we have 3 more properties on the contract. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna go run by the property tomorrow. He runs by the property the next day, he likes it. He actually says he has a mobile home couple blocks down from that property, which is even better for him as an investor, because when he goes to check on one property, he can literally check on the other property as well right away, which is something that investors love. They love being in the same area. So yeah, so I signed the property to him the next day, and we sent everything to the title company. Mind you, this was back in November. I closed on this deal a week ago. It took a month and a half to do. The reason why, there was a little bit of complications with the deal, and so we had to approach it a little bit different with the title company. Remind you, I check on my properties once a week. I talk maybe once every 2 weeks max, but once a week I check on my properties that are in the works with the title company to see where it stands. And I give updates to my buyers. So I'm very good about communicating between everyone, so I try to do my part very well. Right before the closing, the title company tells me, so do you know if this seller lives in Puerto Rico? And I was really confused. I was like, I have no idea. I don't know. I never asked him where he lives. She's like, well, we might have a little bit of problem. She's like, it's not a big problem, but it's just a little bit of complication. I said, okay, well, what are we gonna do? She tells me this on Tuesday, and Friday is supposed to be the closing. She's like, well, we're gonna have to overnight him the contract. He signs it, notarizes it, and then sends it back to us. I start panicking a little bit because I don't really like when sellers have to do too much, because so much can go wrong. And I don't like that. I'd rather me do all the work, and even if I get paid a little less or whatever, I don't know what it has to be, but I'd rather me do all the work instead of sellers or buyers. I trust myself more than I do anyone else. That's just how it is. So in business, that's how I prefer to do it. But either way, I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's what we gotta do. And the first question the title company asked me, they're like, okay, so it's gonna be $82 fee to ship it there and back. I was like, well, okay, sounds good. I was like, I'll pay for it. And they're like, oh, you gonna pay for it, not the seller? I'm like, no. I told the seller it's gonna be $5,500 net that they're gonna make from it, unless they had back taxes or any mortgages. And I was like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make sure that works, because you don't want to lose a $4,500 deal because of 82 bucks. And I'm not gonna go to the buyer and ask him for $82 because he's literally gonna buy 3 more properties from me under contract that are right now. So I think it's kind of ridiculous. So you just gotta have to put stuff in perspective. But there are people that are gonna go to the buyer or the seller to ask for that fee, but I didn't. I just wanted to pay for it and get it done. So we had to extend the contract by like 4 days just in case. We got all that done. We sent it to the seller. Seller signed it, sent it back, and we were waiting. And this was actually my first closed deal in a month and a half. I signed like maybe 5 or 6 contracts in December, but none of them really closed yet. They're all in the works to close. They're all on escrow to close this month or next month. It's a lot of stress because you don't know if it's really gonna close or not. You're just kind of hoping for it, because even if the buyer and the seller don't back out, you never know what title issues there might be in the back end. That's why I say don't count the money before you actually get it. So come January 15th, the closing happens. The buyer gets what they wanted, the seller gets sent the money overnight package as well, and I get $4,400. Either way guys, so that's a breakdown of my latest deal that I wholesaled, the vacant land. If you got any questions, leave them down below. I'm taking questions all the time. If any of you guys ever wholesale vacant land, I want to know about it, and I don't know if it's worked out for you, how it worked out. Leave a comment down below if you had problems, complications with it. And as always guys, peace.